everybody. Today I'm going to do not necessarily a box opening, maybe a look inside the box of a game that I really enjoyed in my youth and ended up selling this one, but I finally got another one that wasn't too expensive and in pretty good shape. And it's called Panzer Leader by Avalon Hill. And this is the game of tactical warfare. And this one is on the Western Front. This follows Panzer Blitz, which was on the Eastern Front. And it's 1944 to 45. I'm going to talk a little bit about this game, how we used to play it back in the day before we had emails and computers, when we actually played by mail, because it was always difficult to find somebody to play against, I should say, unless you went to conventions. So let's open up and see what comes inside of Panzer Leader. Okay, so let's check it out on the inside here, see what you get. Now, my copy, I've already done a little bit of work here. All these pieces came in plastic bags in here. I checked them against the manifest that's included in the game, showing you all the pieces, and everything was there. But this is my first attempt at 3D printing little trays for my counters here. And this has all of my German pieces and some map markers there. This one here is the same way, a German piece. And I like to have separate things, even though they don't take much space. I like to have them separated so that they're easy to find for me whenever I set up scenarios. I find that helps gameplay a lot because you can get everything set up much quicker when you can just find it rather quickly. The faster you can find it, the better. And here, this one's a little bit tight here. But I actually have, I developed a better setup, which you can see up here. If you want to check out my latest on 3D printing for these pieces for the game. So now Panzer Leader has rules and designer notes. Now, unlike Panzer Blitz, this one actually had a booklet that they made up. And so the nice thing about this is that this had different things that they sort of rectified from Panzer Blitz, sequence of turns. They had opportunity fire, I believe, was in this one. Spotting, streams, line of sight obstructions, personal defense, engineers, blocks, wreckage, of course, which was in the Panzer Blitz. And then we had amphibious landings and assaults here in this game, which is kind of fun. German fire, fighter bombers, observational aircraft, which would spot stuff, anti-aircraft defense. And then we got into using the situational cards and using the situation cards. And then we got into optional rules here: infantry quick time, naval support fire, opportunity fire, which was a big one. This sort of eliminated Panzer Bush. Allowed you to, if a unit moved in front of you and whether it went from one hiding area to the next, you were able to see it. You were allowed to shoot at it. It was spotted. And some examples of play here. And then more examples of play. Then we have the unit function table here. And this sort of tells you how many units of each you have. So this is what I used to compare whether I had all of the pieces or not in this game, which I did. And then we get to the macro game, available forces. So you can set up quite a few boards there if you had a couple extra. Composition, and then we got into some designer notes in the back here. So a very good manual. I think you had, I didn't notice, let's see, with the optional rules, you have 24 pages. Before that, let's see, experimental rules. So basically 13 pages roughly, 14 pages of rules there. And we had a terrain effects chart here, which is this one here. And on the back side, it had target elevation table, what you could see. Weapon effectiveness chart, so depending on what you were shooting at somebody, if you were shooting, high explosives towards units, towards infantry, that did normal damage. If you're shooting towards armed vehicles, it didn't do as much damage. Then you got to the situation cards, which these are all, I don't know if they still are. Yeah, they are still stuck together. So These are all your situations here. And I think you have 20 of them. Yeah, you have 20 different ones. And the General came out with a whole bunch of others. I mean, you just have, and you still can go online on Board Game Geek, and there's still people that are making new ones of these. And this shows you the map setups, what direction they face, and how you put them together. And this here gives you the situation map, which shows you where all of each one of these happened in the war, where it took place. Gives you the Z readout for your unit, which a lot of people use when playing by mail or you know, just over the phone if you played that way. Anti-aircraft table, combat result, and simple combat result table. We also have in here, do a friend a favor. Do you know someone who has the like basic brain power to comprehend Avalon Hill games? Get them involved, and you can have them send them a catalog. And of course, these were the catalogs that they sent them. It was just like this. So it's kind of fun to look at the prices here. For example, let's see. Panzer Leader was $10. When I bought my Panzer Leader, it was $10. And I bought this used game. I think it was like, ended up being like $40-some with shipping. And this thing here had, I think it had, and maybe this one didn't, but some of them had $1 off coupon in addition to that, the mailing thing, and then the shipping here. So if you had $10, $1.25 shipping. $10 to $15, $1.25 shipping. So, and then you had, you know, you have free shipping cards that have sales. And at the bottom here, we have our 4 mounted map boards. And we'll look at them. And this one had a beach landing, which of course, you know, you figure it had to have because, turn that so you can see it. You had to have a beach landing, of course, because we are Western Invasion Force there. Let me see if I've got enough room here to lay all of these out here. So the B map was only used for a few of them. A map was used for quite a few. And you can see that depending on which direction you turn the letters is the direction that the book would give you, the situation as to which way it should go. Yeah, let's see, I don't think you see that one, yeah, over there. Bring our units right here. Let's see. Ah, look at that. Got them all in. So you can see that, you know, the rivers, they all matched up. The roads matched up. They would match up end to end also. So it was quite... one of the first games to do that was Panzer Blitz, of course. And, well, there were other ones, I think, before that, but that was the most popular one. And then these would just have it laid out for you here. So now this particular game here, I don't believe they actually had a play by mail, because I think what you did was you got a play by mail in the General magazine, and it came with this, and you'd have this copied, and you can see that I had a whole bunch of copies made here, and this especially is a copy. But you had the situation, movement for the player, turn number, and you'd mark on here the location of all your units as to where they were here. And then you had the attacking unit, defending unit type, odds, stock number, stock that you would use for whatever day. So you'd pick a day as to what date the stock would be. And the sales in hundreds here. And then the results would go here, and that's what you would figure out, you know, how your battles were. So all your battles were placed here. The squares had the units here, so you'd basically just cross-index the square. Like here, we'd say board C, R, and it'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'd be R6 would be that square right there. Now or hexagon, I should say. You also were able to, if you had enough room, place on the map. Sometimes you placed like A or B or something like that. And on the back here, you had like the 3 different units there. So if you had more than one unit, you would use this. You would also tell which one was a carrier, what square it was in, and the passenger that it had with it, so that the person knew that you had that they were being carried or that they were not being carried, because that made a difference on the attack. And opportunity fire was the unusual way that, because opportunity fire, when they moved through, you could fire at them, and so you had to there was a special rule for that, but there was also another rule, I think, that came out with Panzer Leader, that was just for high explosives. In other words, you were able to shoot across the map, and you were able to basically pick out a square ahead of time and put a location for that to fire. And so I think what you had to do is you had to have another little envelope that you put the square location as. So let's say if you had an 88 over here and you were gonna bombard this bridge right here, and so you would put that location, you put that in the envelope. You had like the coin envelopes. You put them in a little coin envelope, and you'd send it with this, and that was for the next turn. So your opponent had it for that turn. So that he could see, that he had that there while he made his move. Now, what he had to do was he had to make his move, and he had to leave that in that envelope. So he made his move. So like he would make his move, and of course, if you open up that envelope, he'd know right away that you're gonna, shoot at that square. So he doesn't want to go there. So he would make his move, and then he would send that envelope. He'd sign the back of that envelope and date it, and he would send it back to you. And then you would sign and date it, because that way that showed you that he did not look at it. Then you would sign and date it and send it back to him. Then he could open it up to see that he was being attacked right there. So during that turn, so he'd send it back to you, signed and dated, and then you would sign and date it. And during that turn, you'd say, okay, I'm attacking the square with this gun, da-da-da-da-da. And then you'd send that back to him, and then he could open it up and see that, yes, that was the square that you were going for. So it was kind of a complicated way to do it, but indirect fire, that's what it was called. Couldn't think of it for a second there. But yeah, indirect fire. So when you did indirect fire, that's how we set that all up. And it was kind of a fun way to do it. That is all the stuff that comes in the Panzer Leader. Let me flip this on over. Panzer Leader game there. So that's all the stuff that you have inside. That's sort of how we played it. Fun game. If you like nostalgic games, there's really a lot of good examples of play in old General magazines, and it was just really an enjoyable system. Still is a fun system to play. Thank you for watching this box reveal, I guess, or just look inside of Panzer Leader. And if you like that, please do like and subscribe to the channel. And hopefully we'll have you back next time when I look at another look back into old Avalon Hill games that I've been purchasing to get my collection back up to what I used to have. Thanks for watching.